Hello, in this video I'm showing you the game between Daniil Dubov and Nihal Sarin from the World Rapids from last year. This was a very nice game, and let's get to it. We had the Queen's Gambit accepted, and after bishop takes c4, black plays c5. Dubov castled, and after a6, here white played queen e2, and now black plays b5 with tempo, bishop d3, and we had cd4. And here, white can recapture with the pawn, and after bishop b7, we have a normal position with an isolator on d4. But here, in this position, Dubov played a4. He wants to include his rook in the game, to open up the a file. If black takes on e3, for example, there's bishop e3, white's pieces are much more developed than black's, and there's potential danger of rook d1, rook c1 at some point and hitting the queen, which would be quite unpleasant. After a4, white is trying to make squares for his pieces, especially for the knight on b1. By pushing a4, he wants to make room for this maneuver. And by pressuring the b5 pawn, he's going to do so, because now the pawn has to react. It's either going to push b4, which allows the knight d2, knight c4 maneuver, or black will capture on a4, but that also brings the c4 square to the knight. So Nihal doesn't want to play b4, which indeed blocks the rook from getting to the king side via a4 and h4, but it leaves some potential weaknesses on the queen side. So Nihal's reasoning behind ba4 was to eliminate as many pawns as possible on the queen side. But the downside of this reasoning is that now the rook gets active. After rook takes a4, he continues with bishop e7, and finally Dubov takes on d4. Black has to move his queen, and now we have knight bd2. The knight is coming to c4. What's even better, it comes with tempo. Black tries knight c6, and since the rook is on the 4th rank, it goes to h4. Bishop b7 by black, and now we have knight c4, queen c7, and now it's time to develop the most inactive piece in white's camp. That piece is the bishop on c1. You can do it by pushing e4 as well, but you're risking to block the bishop on d3. So Dubov chose a different route. He went for bishop d2. Now Nihal castled, and we have bishop c3. Now all the pieces of white are nicely placed. Now black is under some pressure because bishop takes f6 is a huge threat to capture this pawn on h7. So black has to react. He cannot push e5 to stop this, so it's basically either g6 or h6. And Nihal played g6, which stops the bishop from d3, but opens up diagonal for the bishop on c3. Maybe it was better to go with h6. The possible reason why Nihal didn't play h6 was that he was afraid maybe of some sacrifices on h6, which might appear, but this would take a long time for white to achieve. G6 is a riskier move in this position, and here Dubov is continuing his attack. He's going knight g5. Can you answer to me, what is white's threat right now? You can pause the video here and answer to me. The threat is knight takes h7. Let's say if you go rook a d8, for example, I can take on h7. And now the point is, if you take it back, I can take on h7. And because of this pin, we can go queen h5, and after this, we have a checkmate. Now we see that white's attack is not so naive. After knight g5, black has to find a way to deal with this knight takes h7 threat. And Nihal played knight d5, which allows a beautiful move from Dubov. And again, pause the video here and try to find the winning move. The winning move is queen h5. First of all, if the queen gets taken, which is the most obvious, we have this checkmate on h7. And this is called the Blackburn's mate, this motive. So what should black do here? Nothing. Black resigned after queen h5 because there's no way to defend against queen takes h7. If the rook makes way for the king, let's say like this, then the f7 pawn becomes undefended, and after this we have a checkmate, or on h8, whatever. So after queen h5, black resigned. If knight f6, trying to defend this, we can simply eliminate the knight and then capture on h7. That's it. So what should black do after knight g5, you may ask? Maybe e5, because now knight h7 doesn't work. I can take it, take twice, and after this check, I can simply go back to g7, and the bishop on c3 is blocked, so there are no combinations like queen h8 as in the previous line. So after e5, black is defending and the game would go on. So what happened in this game? Let's recap. First of all, after this moment, Dubov tried to complicate matters by a4, trying to make way for his knight to c4, sacrificing a pawn, and after Nihal took, now the rook got very active, and after a couple of more moves, it got to h4. All the pieces got to right squares, we had bishop d2, bishop c3 maneuver, and finally this knight g5 was very good. Black didn't play e5 to stop the crushing attack. He played knight d5, hoping to exchange the good bishop on c3 by attacking the knight on g5 and bishop on c3. But he missed this, queen h5, and everything fell apart. If you like this video, like and subscribe. See you soon and have a nice day. Bye bye.